Yo guys, Jonathan here, and apparently deep fusion sweaters are a thing now. And if this video hits 15,000 likes, I'll give 10 deep fusion sweaters away. I'm hot! Shout out to Mr. Rogers, and yeah, deep fusion sounds like a terrible deep purple cover band, and while it's not officially out, it is available through the iOS 13.2 beta, so I thought it would make sense to break it down, explain how it works, what it's for, because unlike the iPhone 4, a lot of people are using this wrong. Now, to be fair, I think a lot of the confusion and misunderstanding was Apple's own fault. It's not that Mr. Philip Schiller explained it wrong. He explained it right. It was just a little rushed kind of towards the latter part of the keynote and came off more of a flex of, hey, look what our A13 Bionic can do. The way Apple should have explained it is that the camera will automatically optimize the scene no matter the lighting condition. And that's really what's important here because we have HDR, Smart HDR, that's for bright situations. We have night mode, which is for low light, but there's never been really anything in between that. And that's exactly what Deep Fusion is for. Now we know Apple can be a little ridiculous with their marketing terms and their fancy talk up on stage, but when Phil said,
"It is computational photography mad science,"
he's not wrong because what goes on behind the scenes is ridiculous. So how Deep Fusion works is before you even take a shot, there's a constant buffer that's just happening in the background. Then before you even press the shutter or that circle to take a picture, it'll take a total of 8 images. You have 4 standard exposure shots, and that is paired with 4 short exposure shots, and when you tap that shutter, it then takes 1 long exposure shot and then enters the matrix. From there, the neural engine goes to work, and there are 2 elements, a reference frame and a synthetic long frame. With the reference frame, it essentially takes the best of the short exposure shots, and the idea there is to freeze motion and then extract the sharpness and the highlight detail. With the synthetic long frame, that blends 3 of the standard exposure shots with that long exposure shot, and the end result there is details in the shadows, but it also prevents noise. To be clear, it's preventing noise and not applying noise reduction. It then takes all of that, something crazy like 24 million pixels, stitches all that together, and the end result is a picture that's not only sharper with more detail, but has way less noise. Also, shout out to Farouk for the beautiful Deep Fusion sweater modeling. Again, to reiterate, this is going to work best from medium down to low light situations right before night mode kicks in. So if you've seen posts or comparisons where they're saying, I don't really see a difference and it's outside in the sun, that's why. This shot here is probably the best example of Deep Fusion going to work. Like any darker, night mode would have absolutely kicked in. Yes, it is sharper, there's more details in the hair, in the beard, but for me, what's most impressive again is that lack of noise. Like if you zoom into that shirt without Deep Fusion, it is pixelated potato town with a giant serving of noise slapped on top. And then with Deep Fusion, all that noise is gone. I've also seen some comments where people are saying they can just add sharpness and get the same result, but it doesn't work that way. If you apply sharpness to noise, you just have sharp noise. Now from there, to clear up the air of whether it works on just the iPhone 11 Pro or the 11 as well, it technically works on both. It won't work with the ultra wide angle lens, it will work with the wide angle, so that's where the iPhone 11 users come in, but you're gonna see the best results with the telephoto lens on the iPhone 11 Pro. The reason being, again, Deep Fusion will work better in lower light situations, and the telephoto lens performs worse in low light when compared to that wide angle lens. That has a wider aperture of f1.8, so it's going to suck in way more light, therefore you're going to need it less and also appreciate it more on the telephoto lens with the 11 Pro. Now where Deep Fusion gets unnecessarily complicated and confusing and dumb is in order to enable it or to have it work, you have to disable another feature, Auto Adjust, which is new to both the 11 and 11 Pro. I covered it pretty thoroughly in my 11 Pro Max review, so if you missed that, I'll drop a link down below, but essentially it gives you the ability to save a shot even if you screwed up the composition. Say you cut off someone's face, it'll actually capture information outside the frame using the ultra wide angle lens, but to do this, you have to enable capture outside the frame. The problem is, if that's enabled, Deep Fusion doesn't work. WTF, Apple. The whole idea with Deep Fusion is that it's supposed to work in the background. There's no indicator, no icon like night mode, and I understand that Apple wants you to not think about it, but if you're making me choose between another feature, I am absolutely thinking about it. Now, the reason it won't work is because of the ultra wide angle lens, and I understand the reasoning, but I feel like Apple is advanced enough to where even if we didn't get an icon or an indicator, when Deep Fusion kicks in the background, simply bypass the ultra wide angle lens and we're good to go. Take Smart HDR for example, it just works, there's no indicator, it just happens in the background. So I'm okay if Deep Fusion works in that same way, but right now, even if it's still in beta, it's just way too much to think about. So Timothy, Whether you're watching in your Deep Fusion sweater or a Sweet Tim Apple shirt, if it's going to live up to the "it just works" motto, things gotta change. There needs to be some sort of solution because it's a little messy right now. Mess and slop aside though, Deep Fusion itself is pretty incredible, and it's absolutely a game changer in terms of smartphone photography. If Apple can nail and refine the user experience, it's just one more reason why the 11 and the 11 Pro keep getting better. If you picked up an iPhone 11 or 11 Pro, I'd love to hear your thoughts so far, and if you're looking for some cool accessories to go along with that, have a cool giveaway going on linked up here and down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Jonathan, and I will catch you guys later.